Hello, welcome to Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Happy Father's Day to all of you fathers and stepfathers out there. You are very appreciated. It's my first Father's Day without my father, so it's kind of a bit of a surreal day for me. So anyway, welcome to Pint Time, episode 320. This is a bang for your buck blueprint. Hold on, I'm getting some messages. So I'm going to send them out real quick, and then I'm going to tag some people in this. But bang for your buck blueprint. I'm going to give you guys 5 of the most inexpensive places to travel to on a budget, where you're going to get more bang for your buck, as they say. Just sending this out to a few people real quick. Yoshi just messaged me and said, I missed a show. And I said, no, you didn't. I'm on right now. Let's see. I think I got just about everyone. Let's see. Ed. John. Crap, but I have stream now too on Twitch. Oh no. Yoshi has a stream on Twitch right now, apparently. Oh well. Alright. Why does it keep giving me an option to boost video? And it puts it in the spot where I can't see anybody. But anyway. Yeah, we're just going to back out of that. So anyway, again, happy Father's Day. And to all the fathers and stepfathers out there. Morgan, hey, what's going on? So I already cracked a Guinness there for all the fathers for Father's Day over on my TikTok real quick. So I'm going to finish up this one. Again, today's show is the best bang for your buck blueprint. This is where I'm going to tell you guys 5 of the least expensive places that you can go visit to get better bang for your buck, as they say. So this episode is going to be all about inflation crunch and exploring the absolute best value-packed, underrated budget destinations right now. We are moving past the obvious tourist traps and breaking down 5 phenomenal places where your dollar stretches incredibly far. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. We'll look at the raw cost, minimalist budget stays, hyper-local street food scenes, and the hidden historical or natural gems you can explore while there. Let's discuss these places you can travel for under $40 a day, including a place with $1 tacos and a beach destination that beats Greece on price, believe it or not. Destination, oceanside desert landscapes where a hostel is only $8 a night. A lakeside paradise that rivals Tulum, and a European fairy tale town where a pint of craft beer costs less than a couple bucks. So let's get started. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, comment below where you are watching from. The channel is popping off right now. I have no idea why. Yeah, I saw one of your videos the other day, I think, that had like 4,000 views or something like that. That's freaking awesome. So, as tradition goes, you guys get to pick whoever is on what I get to try first. So, as I finish up this delicious Guinness Extra Stout, I'm going to show you guys what I have to do today. And it is a bit of a mix. I wasn't able to get to Total Wines and More this week. A little change of plans, but it was more important to spend more time with my sister Robin over in Tampa, so we did that instead. But she did give me a German beer that she got, which I'm going to try for you guys. And then I have two IPAs to try for you as well. So now this is called Spaten. This is imported from Germany. It's Spaten, and it is a premium lager. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. At a cookout for Father's Day. We'll try to get on soon. Okie dokie. That's cousin Sharon. She's at a cookout for Father's Day. And again, happy Father's Day to everyone out there. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, I know. It's 15K, 7 subs away from being monetized. Really? You're almost up to 1,000? Damn! Or did YouTube change that? When I first started YouTube, there was no parameters for monetization, and then they switched it up on me like a couple months in and said, you need 1,000 followers to get monetized. I'm at like 434 or something like that. 435 or something like that. It's 500 now. They lowered the requirement. Oh, awesome. So that means I need like 60 more. Heck yeah. All right, so I have the Spaten lager out of Germany. Imported from Germany. It doesn't really give me any information on it. It just says Spaten Premium Lager. Then the next one I have to try for you guys is a very popular IPA here in Florida. Comes in at 7.5% on the Richter scale, and that is High Life Indian Pale Ale High Life IPA. It's been a long time since I've had one of these, so comes in at 7.5%. This is a pint plus 3.2 ounces. And this is brewed and canned by Cigar City Brewing in Tampa, which I have actually been there. And then the last IPA I have to try for you guys is by Three Daughters Brewing. This is called the Vagabond IPA. The Vagabond, it's balanced, clean, bright, citrus forward, low bitterness, which I love. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the sweeter side. Supposedly comes in at 6.8% on the Richter scale. Love the can art there. Vagabond. I could totally live in a van. That's for sure. Yeah, in one day I overtook you from 391 to 493. That's awesome. You found the algorithm. You found the algorithm hack. I need to do that too. Well, come tomorrow or Tuesday, basically, I'll have this Pint Time to upload. And then hopefully within the next week or so, I'm going to start re-editing some of my travel videos and start throwing those up on all the social media. But we will see. And then hopefully within the next week or two, obviously the show I have to postpone for July 4th because the 4th falls on a Saturday. It's our 250th anniversary over here. Our 250th year of claiming freedom from England there, Morgan. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to postpone that show or do it on a Friday or a Sunday. So I'll have to figure that out. And then also the middle to the end of July, I'm going to be traveling to Ohio for the 1 year since losing my father on July 19th. I am not sure if I'm going to do a show then, if I will be up to doing a show around that time. I am not sure yet, but maybe I'll wing it. Maybe I'll just do a quick show and have a beer or two with you guys. But I don't know. We shall see. So, and then hopefully in August, I'll be able to start the food tour and some more travel videos as well. It's just that everything has been so blowing up over the last couple months that it's been a bit crazy. So anyway, so as tradition goes, you guys pick which one you would like me to try first. Is it the Spaten? And now it looks like I lost everybody, but the Spaten, the High IPA, or the Vagabond IPA. And there probably might not be people on too, because it is Father's Day today here in the United States. So if not, I shall just motor on. This is my video when I was in Kamala Beach, Thailand. This is the tsunami memorial. The tsunamis way back, and I think it was 2004. Blew through that small little beach town there, which is a beautiful little town, and kind of decimated it, and many people lost their lives. So they built a memorial. All right, let's get her going here. Put this one back in there. That's going to be interesting. Grab me some water right here. All right, got some water, and I forgot to do one other thing. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Hi, babes. Good, you're on. Maybe you could pick a beer for me. Morgan was on, but I lost him. And Sharon is at a cookout for Father's Day. So, anyway, I got the Spaten. I've got the Highlight IPA, or you could just say Cigar City. And I have the Three Daughters Vagabond IPA. So, picky pick. Of course, you're at work, so you're probably really busy right now and couldn't pick a beer for me anyhow. So anyway, I guess I'll just pick one, and we will go from there. I haven't had a Highlight in forever, so I am going to go with the Highlight first. Again, it comes in at 7.5%. on the Richter scale, and this is one of the most popular IPAs in Florida. And if I remember right, it is pretty hoppy, but we will see how it goes. All right, here we go. Cheers. Cheers to episode 320. Yeah, it smells like pine trees. And it tastes like pine trees. However, it does have, I can see why this is one of the biggest IPAs here in Florida. It does have a certain amount of sweetness to it. And now, it tastes kind of piney when it first hits your palate, but now as it's sort of settling down and the sweetness kind of kicks in, it's given that grapefruit sort of aftertaste, like when you drink grapefruit juice or eat, ruby red grapefruit or whatever with a little bit of sugar on it. It's coming across as that on the backside. So it's not bad. Like I said, I've had this before. This is one of the first IPAs that I've had. I almost poured the whole thing out of there. I got to save some of that for the old TikToks, but there you go. Definitely a nice looking IPA. The beer definitely has some body to it. Yeah, I mean, as IPAs go, this is pretty solid. If you're an IPA drinker, you're still going to like this because it gives you that, sort of hoppy notes on the finish. And if you're not an IPA drinker, you're just getting into IPAs, this one might not be a bad jump to go from the lighter IPAs to a slightly stronger IPA. But Cigar City Brewing Company, I'm going to give this one a 7 as far as IPAs go. I haven't scored very many IPAs too high. I think there was like 2 IPAs that I scored. One of them was a 10, and that was Make America Juicy Again by Heretic Brewing Company, which unfortunately I believe is like out of business now, which is mind-blowing. All right, now let's get into this Vagabond IPA real quick by Three Daughters, and then I'll have one more beer to try, and then we're going to get into some places that you can travel to for really cheap and have an amazing experience. Three Daughters Brewing is in St. Pete, Florida, by the way. This is supposed to be a light-tasting IPA, and generally with IPAs, I like to rinse the palate. Sometimes they have sometimes they clash. All right, let's give this one a try. Here we go. Cheers. And by the way, just as a hint, the first country I'm going to talk about is Vietnam. It is a bit more manageable of an IPA. However, it's still very hoppy up front, punches you in the face. It is kind of sweet. I wouldn't necessarily say that, it's low on the bitterness. It's like it's low on the initial taste, and then after that, it just like hits you in the back of the palate. All right, let's do a hard pour on this thing and see if it changes anything. Some of these glasses are still pretty warm, unfortunately, but looks pretty good. It has some nice sized beer bubbles there. I can't figure out what hops that is they use. I wish they... It says it's citrus forward, so I don't know. Maybe a Centennial or a Citra. I would say the hard pour is the way to go on that thing. The hard pour adds a little bit more sweetness to it. Kind of blends the hoppiness into it as well, so you just don't get kind of punched with it, but it's not bad. For some reason, I feel like I like the highlight just a little bit better. So I'm going to give this one a 6.5 by Three Daughters. 6.5. Put that one away. And before we get into the spotting, let me get on to the first country that we're going to talk about. And it is Mui Ne. Mui Ne, Vietnam. Hopefully I said that right. So get your notebooks out because we're headed to Southeast Asia and Mui Ne, Vietnam. Now, when most people plan trips to Vietnam, they instantly think of Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City or lanterns in Hoi An. Those are all great, but if you want the absolute beachside adventure that feels like a surreal movie set for pennies on the dollar, you need to head south to this amazing spot. It's this wild, sleepy fishing town that is literally famous for a massive Sahara-like desert, sand dunes crashing right down towards the ocean. So it sounds amazing. Now let's talk about budgets here. The budget stays. Look for local Ne, which is basically Vietnamese word for family-run guest house. These are going to be super inexpensive, or a social backpacker hostel right off the main strip. You're looking anywhere from $8 to $15 a night. Super mad cheap to go there. Daily food and drinks. This is where it gets ridiculous. Now, you can walk up to a street cart, grab a crispy, fresh banh mi pork sandwich, or a massive steaming bowl of local seafood pho for around $1 to $2. That's right, $1 to $2. And for an evening pint, a cold bottle of the local Saigon beer or fresh Bai Hoi, which is basically fresh beer in Vietnamese, will set you back about 50 cents to 80 cents. You can easily drink all day here for under $10 or for under $1 or under $10, basically. Yeah, under $10. You can drink here all day if you choose. It's kind of crazy. Now, I don't believe I have had a Vietnamese beer. I could be wrong. I know I've had some Korean beers, but I don't know if I've had some Vietnamese beers, so I shall have to look for some next time I go to Total Wines. Now, the $0 highlights here are you've got to wake up early and do a Jeep trek out to the massive white and red sand dunes for sunrise. But for the the favorite spot for everyone here is the Ferry Stream. And it's this bizarre ankle-deep river of water that you can walk through barefoot, wedged completely between glowing red and white canyon walls. It feels like you're walking through Mars, and the entry fee is practically a token pocket change amount. So whatever change you got in your pocket is basically what it's going to cost. So pretty cool. I haven't been to Vietnam yet. However, it's on my bucket list. It's been on my bucket list for a little while now. And maybe one day I shall go. Hopefully. Pardon-moi. I have to get a new speaker too. This speaker is not sounding very loud. Probably as loud when I put it up there, but it's not sounding very loud, and I don't know why. Anyway, I digress. Pour all that out of there. So, all right, let's go on to number two. Number two, or in this case, dos. Dos. Why? Because we're talking about Bacalar, Mexico. Bacalar, Mexico. Okay, let's pivot across the globe for number two. Now, I know a bunch of you love Mexico. I love Mexico. I've been there a couple times, but you're exhausted of the crowds and tourist places like Tulum and what's the other place there that I went to? Tulum and oh my god, I can't think of the name of it now. But anyway, brain farts. No, not Catania. Cancun. Oh my god, I knew I'd think of it sooner or later. Cancun. I was in Cancun. I enjoyed Cancun, but it is very touristy, and especially now it's super touristy. But let's head south, a few hours south of the Yucatan Peninsula to Bacalar, Mexico. Bacalar is nicknamed the Lagoon of Seven Colors. And the second you look at the water, you will know why. It's a massive crystal clear freshwater lagoon that shifts from electric turquoise to a deep indigo blue as you're standing there. It looks exactly like the Maldives without the private jet budget. Now let's talk the budget. Since we're talking about budgets, let's talk about budget stays. Skip the high-end boutique hotels. There are incredible lakeside eco hostels that you can stay in there, and minimalist guest houses right on the perimeter where a comfortable dorm bed or a private hammock space runs you about $12 to $25 a night, which is not bad at all for Mexico. The best part? Most of these budget spots throw in free paddle boards or kayaks for you right from their private docks. So you could stay there for $12 to $25 and get a free paddleboard or a kayak. So how cool is that? Anywhere else you go, they want to charge you a fortune just to rent a paddleboard for an hour or whatever. Let's talk about daily food and drink costs. If you sit right at the Lakeside Tourist Bistro, you're going to pay American prices, so don't do it, basically. And that holds true for any city that you go to. When I was in Rome, I went to a cafe where I could look across the plaza and see the Roman Colosseum or Colosseum. And I had a giant, massive cappuccino. I mean, the cup that came out was just massive. It was like some, specialty cup. I think it cost me about 9 or 10 euro or something like that. But I was sitting right across from the Colosseum. So had I gone, 3, 4, 5 blocks away from the Colosseum and into some random local neighborhood, for one, I probably wouldn't have found that size of a cappuccino. But a normal cappuccino would have probably cost me 1.50 to €2, maybe, give it to you. So, just so you know. Now, what I suggest, just as I said, walk 3 blocks inland to the local town square, and you'll find local street vendors slinging incredible cochinita pibil tacos. Pibil tacos. And fresh empanadas for about $1 to $1.50 each. That's amazing. So you can get your fill. You can feast like royalty for $10 to $15 a day by eating tacos and empanadas and quesadillas and burritos and tostadas, etc., etc. So, all right, now some must-see highlights there in Mexico. You have to spend an afternoon floating down the Las Rapitos, or the Rapids, which is basically like a natural mangrove-lined river current that acts like a lazy river, basically. So you just get on a float and you just sort of float down La Rapidos. For a bit of hidden history, shell out about $6 US to tour the Fort of San Felipe. It's an 18th century stone fortress built by the Spanish to literally fight off pirates who were raiding the lagoon. It's wild, it's historical, and the views from the stone ramparts over the bright blue water are absolutely insane. So, yeah, that is definitely a place that I would want to go see and just sort of take in the scenery. A bit like I did when I was walking the Camino de Santiago and I finally made it to Fister. And I got to stand out there on the cliffs of Fister, right by the lighthouse, and look out over the Atlantic Ocean to about where New York or Boston is, and sort of reflect on the journey, take some amazing pictures, obviously, and reflect on life, basically, which, speak of the devil, this is the first time I went to Fister. This wasn't the cliffs, however. I went to the beach. This was on my first Camino in 2016. So, God, 10 years ago already. That's insane. It'll be 10 years ago next month. End of next month, I think I flew into Barcelona. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, now let's move on to Destination 3. This is for my deep European history buffs, basically, and my craft beer lovers, because if you want an old world European charm, cobblestone streets, and a massive underground vault pubs without paying Western European prices, you need to book a ticket to Krakow, Poland. Now, I flew into, no, I didn't fly into Warsaw. I took a bus, actually, from Berlin to Warsaw, Poland. Kind of fitting, actually, now the more that I think about it. But I took a bus from Berlin to Warsaw, Poland. And I went and saw the Warsaw Uprising Museum and basically followed the tracks of some of World War II history in doing so. I hit a lot of World War II history while I was in Europe, including all the D-Day landing sites in France and Normandy. And this was one that sort of like hitting Omaha for the D-Day landing sites. This is one that sort of was a life-changing experience. Now, I took a bus to Krakow, and I stayed in the old Jewish quarters, which wasn't damaged during World War II, by the way, believe it or not. And I ended up I hung out there for a little bit, and I took a bus to Auschwitz I and Auschwitz II. And it was an absolutely life-changing, memorable experience for me to think that I walked where so many lost souls have walked. So Krakow is a beautiful city for sure. And Krakow is one of my favorite cities that I traveled to from a historical perspective. Its medieval town square was completely untouched by the destruction of World War II, like I said. So the historical architecture here is completely authentic and absolutely breathtaking the way it is laid out. Now, there are a lot of things to do within Krakow as well, and they have huge markets there and everything else, and some amazing food. There's a lot of budget hotels that I'm going to get into, budget stays. Like Krakow has some of the highest rated, cleanest boutique hotels in the world, alongside incredibly cheap central studio apartments that you can rent. And you can land a top tier spot just steps away from the Moth Square or Mass Square for $15 to $30 a night. I stayed in a boutique hotel there. I believe it was called the David, or maybe the Star of David. I remember it had the Star of David outside of it, but they gave a free breakfast that was phenomenal. It was a breakfast buffet, and they gave you many different styles of local Krakow food, Polish food, etc. to pick from. So it wasn't like, you were just getting a Danish and some coffee. This was like a real breakfast, and it was included in the stay, which was amazing. So that leads me into the daily costs of food and drinks. So to eat on a budget here, you hunt down a bar, Lexni, which is basically a milk bar. It's called a milk bar in English. These are traditional, no-nonsense, government-subsidized cafeteria-style diners left over from the communist era. Basically, you walk in, point at what you want, and a massive plate of handmade potato and cheese pierogies or hearty borscht soup will cost you about $3 to $4 US. I went to one of these. It's basically like a cafeteria style. You get your tray. There's a bunch of people back there serving food, and you just pick whatever you want. And if it's not cooked already, they cook it for you, etc. And they put it on your plate. You pay at the end, and you go sit down. It's pretty cool, and it's not very expensive, depending on how much food you get and that type of stuff. Now, the pub scene, head to the historic Jewish quarter of Kazimir, which is where I was, which is where I stayed. And there you will find candlelit underground cellar bars and a pint of crisp local Polish lager that will only run you about $2.50 to $3.50 a pint. So not that bad at all. Not that bad at all. Now, the must-see highlights there, spend hours just getting lost in the Rheineck Glauni. which is the largest medieval town square in Europe. I walked all over that square, and it was beautiful. It was truly beautiful. Not only that, but you can walk out by the river. There's a river that runs through Krakow. I can't remember the name of the river, but you can cross over the bridge. The bridge is super cool too. It's a walking bridge. And they have like all of these acrobat statues hanging from the cables on the bridge. Really cool. Like, like you're almost like walking through a circus tent or something. But it's very cool. And you walk through to the other side, at least from where I was staying from, and you go left and you kind of follow it around. You make another right, and you'll find Schindler's Factory from Schindler's List. And Schindler was a businessman who saved, I think it was somewhere around 100 Jewish people or something like that from the Germans. He actually had them, he had new IDs made for them, new identifications. Some of them stayed in his factory overnight in small little places that he made for them to stay in. Schindler was truly an amazing person. So walk up the hill to explore the ancient Wawel Royal Castle, and which I saw from afar. I didn't actually go into the castle. And explore, and make sure to take a local cheap bus just outside the city to Walitska Salt Mine. Basically, it's a mind-blowing, centuries-old underground labyrinth where miners literally carved entire multi-room cathedrals, chandeliers, and altars completely out of the solid rock salt. Don't forget to see, like I said, Auschwitz from here. It is truly a touching and unforgettable experience. Absolutely. I can't even describe. It's so hard to put into words, especially when I saw 2 tons of hair that was shaved off of people's heads, including little girls, and you could see their pigtails with little ribbons in them still from 80 years ago. And all of the crutches and wheelchairs of the handicapped people that they took and just got rid of. And standing at the end of the railway there, visualizing the Nazi doctor just pointing right or left. And if he pointed right, you were going to the showers. And if he pointed left, you were going to work until you became a skeleton and refused to eat and whatever else. So I don't know. But definitely a life-changing experience for sure. Now let's move on to another place that I've talked about before, but some of you veteran backpackers out there might remember Bang Bing, something like that. From 10 to 15 years ago, when it was just a chaotic, non-stop party town. But things have changed and the government cleaned it up, and today it has transformed into one of the most breathtaking, pristine outdoor playgrounds on earth. And I am talking about Vang Ving, Laos. Laos is another country that I would love to go visit, especially because it's so inexpensive. A bit like Vietnam and Thailand is still very inexpensive to go visit. But it's surrounded by jagged limestone mountains that looks like something right out of Avatar. And Avatar is one of my favorite movies. I really enjoyed Avatar for sure. Now let's talk about budget stays here. Because it's slightly off the mainstream tourist radar compared to, say, Thailand, The accommodation prices are insanely low. Like you can get a social top-rated backpacker lodge or a peaceful riverside bungalow overlooking the Nam Song River for about $6 to $12 a night. $6 to $12 a night. You can. It's just mind blowing to me. At $6 a night, that's like what, $42 a week to stay there. Or $12 a night, you can stay there for 10 days for $120. Kim and I just went and stayed at a hotel over here on the beach in Tampa to visit my sister, and and it was like $207 a night. Crazy. But yeah, let's talk about daily food costs and drink costs, because that gets even better. Street food stalls are everywhere here. You could grab a traditional sticky rice, fresh papaya salad, or local noodle soup for about $1.50 to $3 a meal. $6 for your stay, $3 for a meal. You're at $9 for the day so far. That's at one meal a day, obviously, but you're probably going to eat more than that. But also for your beer drinkers out there, listen to this. A massive 640 milliliter bottle of legendary beer, beer Lao, basically, will only set you back about $1.20 a beer. It is easily one of the cheapest, high-quality local beers in all of Asia. Now, some of the must-see highlights here: rent a mountain bike or a dirt bike for a few bucks and head out to the massive Pham Chang Cave, which was actually used as a bunker during civil conflicts centuries ago. But the absolute bucket list item here is hiking up the Nam Zhe viewpoint. Why? Because it's a steep, sweaty scramble up a cliffside. But when you reach the top of it, when you reach the peak of it, someone has bolted in an actual motorbike to the top of the cliff. Like, bolted it in. It's not going anywhere. However, sitting on that bike with the 360 panoramic views of the Misty Valley below is just breathtaking, apparently. And it's also unreal because it costs less than $2 to access the trail. So for $2, you can go hiking up it. And I'm sure it's an amazing experience. Thanks for the like. See, it doesn't. I don't understand. But anyway. All right, now let's move on to number 5. Anybody got any questions so far? I think it just came on and maybe one other person. I can't see up here because they have the boost video now up there in the way. So eventually, hopefully within the next week or two, I'm going to be transitioning to my vlogging camera instead of my phone. So things will have to change on the set. I got to redo everything and all that stuff. But at any rate, in the new studio here, one day I will take you guys on a tour of the new studio. I sit here amongst all of my things, for the most part, and I ponder to myself. Anyway. It does. Hey, I just got a bunch of comments. Thanks, babes. Yeah, it does. Hey, everyone. Just this minute, I found out I'm a granddad. Ah, no way! Congratulations, John. And today is Father's Day in the United States. So, happy Father's Day from the United States and happy Grandfather's Day from the United States. That is so awesome. Congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. So that just means I got to send you a little baby outfit, too, to go along with everything else I'm going to send you. And hope it gets through customs. Congratulations, John. Super excited for you, man. That is awesome. Did you go out to the pub and celebrate? No, I think John's still on. We might have lost Kim, though. I don't know. All right, let's get on to number 5 and the last one that I have for you guys. Whew. It is hot in here. But before I get on to number 5, let's try this last beer. For you guys, this is the Spaten out of Germany. It is a German premium lager. Comes in at 5.2% on the Richter scale. You know what? How's things in there? I need to go over there. Smells a bit skunky on the nose, I'll be honest with you, but here we go. Cheers. It's pretty good. My sister Robin gave me one of these. She loves this beer. It actually kind of reminds me of the Molson X, I think it was called, or something like that. Molson Golden X or something. Anyway, there you go. Nice clear looking beer. Has a beautiful little beer head on there. I would say the hard pour is the way to go. It has a bit of a sweetness to it. Maybe a slight bit of hoppiness and some funkiness to it. A bit like, say, I know it's a lager, but it's coming across a bit like, say, maybe a Saison or something that has a little bit of a funk to it. But it's pretty good, and apparently they use like all natural ingredients. And it's not too bad. I'm going to give this one a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. Would I have another one? Absolutely. Absolutely. I get all these mixed up here. All right, now let's get into number 5. Now let's flip continents completely for destination number 5, and let's go to South America. South America is absolutely carrying budget travel right now, and if you want massive city energy, incredible street art, and deep history, you need to book a flight to none other than Bogota, Colombia. Bogota, Colombia. It's had a bad rap for a long time, but it's cleaned up now. A lot of travelers bypass the capital and head straight for Medellin, which is another really cool colonial city, or Cartagena, which is another cool colonial city, which means Bogota has stayed incredibly affordable for international travelers. Now, it's a high altitude, high energy metropolis tucked right into the dramatic Andes Mountains, which are massive. The Andes Mountains are where Machu Picchu is in Peru. So, now let's talk about budget stays here in Bogota. You'll want to base yourself in La Candelaria, or the Candle, I believe, which is a historical colonial heart of the city. The cobblestone streets are lined with vibrant, colorful hostels that cost between $10 to $18 a night. Still super inexpensive for a solid dorm or a budget private room, and they almost always feature beautiful interior courtyards and free morning coffee. So at least you can get your coffee in the morning, right? Which, speaking of coffee, as we come up to this point, speaking of coffee, this episode is sponsored by Destination Brews. This is actually a Brazilian Santos coffee. My coffee bags come with a little hole right here so you can smell how delicious they are. And if you would like to check out more on Destination Brews, just search or go to www.destinationbrews.com, and you can find coffees and teas from all over the world and some pretty cool merchandise, if I do say so myself, for you to purchase. And I am giving out a coupon code through the end of July. Coupon code DBGAC. And that will get you 30% off. Put that in at checkout. And you will get 30% off of your purchase. And that should also include merchandise. So this is a 12-ounce bag. You'll get about 15 to 20, or what is it? Yeah, I think it's 12 to 15 or 10 to 15 cups of coffee out of this bag, depending on how strong you want your coffee. And my coffee, it is, I'll just tell you guys right now, it's not a cheap coffee. And with tariff prices right here, right now in the United States, my roasters in California and Chicago get the raw beans shipped in from around the world, and of course they have to pay the tariffs on that, and then they roast them for me to order. So as you order them, they will grab the raw beans and they will roast them for you and ship them out, so they are always fresh. And they search out beans from around the world, high quality beans from high quality farms. And so there you have it. DestinationBrews.com. Check it out. I've had several people try the coffee. They absolutely love it. And so give it a try. I've given out a bunch of free samples. So give it a try. I've tried some myself. I'm personally doing the Mexican chocolate right now, and I absolutely love it with just a tablespoon of honey in it. I don't put anything else in it. So anyway, no pub yet. Well, you're gonna have to hit the pub soon, mate. Maybe we should Facebook call each other or something when you finally have a pint for your grandkid, and we'll do a cheers together. That's awesome. All right, now let's talk about budget stays. Oh, as I said, you want to base yourself basically in La Candelera, which is historic, and as I said, gives you more free morning coffee. Okay, now I'm caught up. Daily food and drink costs. To eat like a boss here, like a local boss here. Look for sign boards offering a almuerzo, I'm assuming that's what it is. Ejecutivo, which is basically the executive lunch. This will set you back about $3 to $4 US, and you get a massive multi-course meal, a bowl of hot soup, and a main plate loaded with rice, plantains, avocado, and your choice of meat, whichever you would like. Plus, fresh fruit juice. Now, some of the must-see highlights in Bogota, Colombia. Bogota has some of the best free or cheap cultural sites in all of South America. The world-renowned Gold Museum costs practically nothing to enter, and the city's street art scene is next level, and you can take a fantastic graffiti walking tour for just a voluntary tip to the local guide. But the ultimate view requires taking the cable car up the Montserrat. It's a church perched at over 10,000 feet. So make sure that you are climate stable before you do this. You don't want to go up there and end up getting altitude sickness and nauseous and headache and having trouble breathing and various other things that come along with altitude sickness. So make sure you acclimate to the area prior to taking a trip like this, because you will be at 10,000 feet on the mountain peak overlooking the city. If you go right before sunset, watching the city lights flicker on across the massive valley below is absolutely unforgettable. Which kind of reminds me of when I did the Camino and I was on the side of the mountain where the speaking of the Camino, that's from the Camino. That's going to the Cristofaro, which is about the halfway point. But it kind of reminds me of when I was there near the Pilgrims Monument, which is basically a bunch of these like metal cutouts of old pilgrims. And I camped on the side of the mountain, and I got up there around sunset, cracked a fresh bottle of wine, local wine, that I got for about €2, 3 €, and watched the sunset over the Spanish mountains. And just beautiful, surreal. Sunflower orchards, I guess you would call them, scaling the side of the mountain. And then watching all the lights come on through all the little clusters of towns along the way there that I could see from the mountainside was just breathtaking. I will never forget that night for as long as I live. And it was just a beautiful evening. So, I just got a happy Father's Day from my stepdaughter, Shy. Thank you, Shy. That means a lot. So anyway, yeah, beautiful experience, absolutely beautiful experience, which is why I wore my badass bonus dad shirt today that the kids got me. Kim's kids got me a couple Father's Days ago. So there you have it. 5 of some of the cheapest. I hate to say cheap. See, that's the thing is like, sometimes when I talk about these countries that are cheap to travel to, I don't want to make the countries sound like they're cheap. The countries aren't cheap. They're beautiful. It's just cheap on the currency, if that makes any sense. For the people who live there, it's pretty average. Just as it is where I live in the United States, or where John lives in England, or whatever. Like, our salaries and our money are, it all sort of equates more often than not. But when we travel to another country where their currency is, the exchange rate is less than ours, then it's cheap. But I don't want the countries to think that they're cheap, because countries aren't cheap. If that makes any sense. Like, I don't want to disrespect any countries out there, but sometimes it is cheaper to travel the world than it is to stay right here at home, honestly. I mean, if you think about it, you can travel to a lot of different countries. You could have, say, $20,000 in your bank, and you could move to a place like Laos, or Vietnam, or Thailand, or Colombia, South America, Mexico, any place like that out in that direction. And some Eastern European countries like Georgia, Croatia, even South Africa, places like that with that $20,000. And if you lived on a budget, that money will last you for years, literally years. But here in the United States, it's going like that. Before you know it, you turn around and you're like, man, where did it all go? You know, I didn't really have many experiences. I didn't go out and see this or that. You know, I might, whatever. It's just buying groceries, paying rent, paying bills, maybe a few things here and there for yourself, and 17 grand's gone like that. And you're like, where the hell did it go? Well, every grocery trip is like $200-$300. You know, rent's $300-$500. You know, or $1,200 a month. Gas is like $80-$100 to fill up your tank. You know, it's like I could move to Thailand with $20,000 and live there for probably 3 or 4 years without even having any additional income, and it would last me 3, 4, 5 years. So, you know, it just depends on where you are. But anyway, I don't want to act like it's the countries are cheap, but it is a lot more expensive to live at home than it is to move away, where your money goes further. Where's a place that you've traveled, if anybody is still on? I think I may have lost John already too, but if you're watching on the replay, where's a place that you've traveled that was light on the wallet? Where is it that you have traveled that was very inexpensive for you to travel on your currency? What is one place that you've always wanted to travel to? And if you watch this show on the replay, don't hesitate to comment below, because I do look for comments and I do get notifications if people comment on the live shows after they've been uploaded already. So where is it that you want to travel to? Where is a place that you've always wanted to travel to? Maybe I'll pick one of those comments and I will give you the most budget breakdown that you can have to travel to that area. Now, next week's topic I already have done. It's obscure hidden history missing from the guidebooks, and I'm going to give you a bunch of different places that you can travel to that are missing off the guidebooks, and some things to see there that aren't normally talked about. So there you have it. 5 of the most inexpensive, we'll go with inexpensive, countries to travel to on a cheap budget. Episode 320 of Pint Time is in the books. Now, eventually, within the next couple weeks, we will be transitioning. The majority of the longer version of this live show will probably transition to YouTube. And I'm going to do a big launch for that and all of that stuff, because I feel like YouTube is kind of where it's at right now, to be honest with you. And so I've been uploading all of these live shows to YouTube. However, it's in this vertical format or horizontal. Vertical. Anyway, it's in this format. All of a sudden, I had a brain fart on vertical versus whatever. But it's in this format. So when I upload it to YouTube, sometimes it might turn some people off. Now, I can always turn it this way. But it says rotating your device, you can't turn the phone while live. So apparently you're still seeing me this way. But either way, I could do that with the phone if I wanted to, I suppose. But I do have a new vlogging camera. I'm currently trying to find, which I have to make a note of, because I have to find in my drawers here somewhere, kind of like I just found my Irish flag. I wish Ireland would have made the World Cup. Listen, here's the thing with the World Cup these days. I got to tell you, when it comes to the World Cup, we could not have had a better time here in the United States, honestly, than to host the World Cup. And my family, the Tartan Army from Scotland, part of my heritage, has absolutely taken the States by storm, even though they were just in Boston. However, unfortunately, my Scots lost the game the other day, so now they will be heading down south here. I think they might be coming to Florida. I'm not sure. If they come to Florida, I may have to go and do some videos. I may. It just might have to happen. And meet some Scots and do some videos, because absolutely, that would be amazing. I think it's Florida. I could be wrong, but I think it's Florida. And if not, anyway. But good luck to the Scots. Team USA, 2-0. They are on their way. Thank goodness. But absolutely love everything I'm seeing from the World Cup here in the United States. It has been absolutely beautiful. People from around the world who have come here to watch their teams play have realized that the United States, the majority of the United States, isn't like its current government. And I don't really like to get into politics a whole lot on this show, but I absolutely am hopeful that the love from all these other countries and the love that these countries feel being here transcends to our next chapter after this chapter is over. Because I feel like this has shown me that I still have a strong faith in humanity. The Scots throwing orange cones on top of everything. The Norwegians doing their Viking row. Whoo! Whoo! I love it because I'm part Viking as well. I'm part Norse Viking, so I'm from Norway, technically. And the Scots, my mother was a Wallace, and my aunt traced it back to William Wallace, so I'm a Scot. So yeah, absolutely love it, and just beautiful. And I have friends from around the world. Like my Team USA played Australia the other day, and of course I was rooting for USA, and I was digging into my mate Mike and a little bit on it, and Patrick, I was digging on them a little bit about it, but it's amazing. I was rooting for South Africa because I got friends in South Africa. So the World Cup being here in the United States has brought a whole new meaning to me, especially since I know people from around the world. And yeah, rooting on England for John and for Morgan, and Germany for Yoshi. But yeah, so really cool. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on another episode of Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. I truly appreciate it. Again, if you're watching it on the replay, don't hesitate to comment below. I get the notifications. I also check the feed to see if anybody has commented. I have the ability to search newest comments, oldest comments, etc. So, yeah, definitely leave a comment below. Share with your friends and family. Truly appreciate it. And as always, peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. I'll see you next time on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike next Saturday, where we are going to be talking about hidden history, obscure hidden history missing from the guidebooks. Peace.